All right, we are off and running on SketchUp number 2, our second SketchUp assignment. The main thing is going to be constructing a chair. There's a bonus opportunity which I will show you in this video. To get started, you'll have to get to SketchUp for Schools. Show you that here in a minute. You have to build the chair. That's the assignment. The top of the back of the chair has to be curved, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that, so keep watching. Bonus, the first part of the bonus is to create an end table or a little small table next to the chair, and I'll do a version of that. Yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. And then another 5 points bonus if you put a lamp on the table. That will get you even more bonus, all right? And then you save it and turn it in when you're all done. Let's hop over here to Chrome. All right, so you'll do this in Google Chrome, and if you open a tab and you do that thing where you go to the waffle on the side and go to Arts and Culture, I'm already there. I'm at Google Arts and Culture. So you click the waffle on the right, go to Arts and Culture, and then when you click the waffle on the right again and you go down far enough, you're going to find SketchUp for Schools down there. There it is. When you start this, you might want to bookmark it because we're going to be using it for a while. And I've got another tab already open here where I've got SketchUp for Schools is all running. All right, so here we are. I'm at SketchUp for Schools, so I'm going to start modeling. And you might have that character standing there in the middle, but so get rid of him if you want to. I already did that. Okay, so the chair. Here we go. Starts with a rectangle. You can either tap R or come over here to the rectangle tool and just draw out. Don't worry too much about, how big is it? Don't worry too much about that today. Just eyeball it, just kind of learning things today. So draw out a rectangle, tap P for push pull, and pull it up a little bit. All right, so it's kind of like a box or a cube. It's not a perfect cube, but it's kind of like a box. All right. If you press down on your mouse wheel, if you have a mouse, you can orbit. If you don't have a mouse, if you're working on your Chromebook and you don't even have a mouse, tap O for orbit, and then you can just use your trackpad or your probably even the touch screen. I'm not sure about that. But if I tap O and I just press the mouse button, I can now orbit around that and do whatever I want. So I'm going to orbit here, kind of look at it from the side. And I'll tap R for rectangle again. Here's the next step. I've got this kind of box thing, so I'm going to make another rectangle that starts here on the bottom edge. And I'm just going to eyeball this. I'm going to drag it up kind of like that. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll work. All right, so I've got that situation. Now I'm going to do push-pull. Once again, I'll tap P for push-pull, and instead of pulling this surface out toward me, I'm going to push it through all the way through. And if you look carefully, you'll kind of see it change color. So when I let go of the mouse, look what just happened. I pushed it through and it cut all the way through that box. So now it looks like this. Okay. Well, this is going to wind up being like the seat and part of the legs of my chair. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I think this works better if you do this from the inside out rather than trying to do it from the outside in. All right, so I'm going to orbit this around so I can see in here. I want to kind of work from the inside out. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'm going to take another rectangle, start here at the bottom edge and drag this up kind of like that. Okay, and again, just eyeballing it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but and I'm going to take push pull, and I'm going to take this surface and push it out toward what is going to wind up being the front of the chair. You'll see what I mean in a minute. All right, push it out, boom. And when you see that little change in color, you know, okay, I've gotten out to the edge and now I've cut out, that's 2 legs of the chair right there. Cool, all right. So now I'm going to orbit this around, do the same thing back here. I'll take the rectangle tool, I'll start at the bottom edge, I'll drag a rectangle up like this. I'll tap P for push pull, I'll take this surface, shove it out, and when I see that change in color, boom, let go of the mouse. Got it, look at that. All right. Now again, if I were to really look at that and measure everything, it's probably not perfect. Now, all the legs aren't probably the same size, and okay, that's all right. All right, so that's part of the chair. Now, the next thing is we got to do a little work up here because this is kind of like it's got legs and a seat, but it doesn't have a back yet. All right, well, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the line tool. It looks like a pencil on the toolbar. You can tap L for line, or you can just click on that pencil looking thing. And I'm going to click on this edge over here and carefully move. Notice how that line is red. That means that if you'll look just to the left of my chair construction, there's a red axis. And if I'm dragging this over, I'm not holding my mouse right now. I just clicked and I'm just moving my mouse. So I'm not dragging. I just do a click and I'm moving my mouse. And you see how it's red. That means it's lining up with the red axis. And that's a good thing. Being on axis is good in this program. So I'm going to come all the way over to the edge right here and click. So really all I did was draw a line from there to there. And I tried to keep it lined up with that red axis. Now, I'm going to tap P for push-pull, and I'm going to take this area right here and just raise it up. How high you raise it up is up to you. That's going to be the back of the chair. This is starting to look like a chair. Look at that. Okay. Now, one of the requirements today is that the top of the back of the chair has to be arched or curved. Oh, okay. Well, here's how you're going to do that. Over here on the toolbar, and it's probably going to look more like this to begin with. There's an arc tool over here, and I'm pointing to it right now so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's right below that line tool. And if you click and hold, press and hold, hit that little arrow right there, it flies out with some other versions of the tool. And we're going to want this 3-point arc right here. That's what I want, 3-point arc. Boom, cool. All right, so click and hold, 3-point arc. And here's how this works. I'm going to make a click here on this edge. I'll make a click here up at the top, and then I'll make a click over on this edge. And it's going to create kind of like a curve. I'll show you what I mean. I'll click here, and wherever you want, right? Pick a spot. Click here. Then I'm going to come up here and click on that edge. Actually, you know what? I might have to go. Do I want to go a little lower? No, it's all right. I'll click on that edge, and then I'll come over here, and I'll click on this edge. Now, do you notice that, again, I'm getting that red line that's running across there? That's a good thing. That means it's lining up with that red axis that's on if you look in front of my chair, there's a red axis kind of on the ground, and that's good. I want that. Boom, like that. So it was click, click, click. All right, and that drew a curve that comes up there. All right, so now I'm going to take push-pull, and I'm going to shove this back. And see what it did here? I just shoved that back, and it took that part off. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'll use push-pull. I'm going to shove that back. Oh, look. Now, you know, sometimes when you do that arc tool, it maybe doesn't work the first time. So Control-Z, if something doesn't work, Control-Z, undo it, and just try it again. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 attempts to make something work. Now look, the construction of the chair is done. I'm orbiting around it right now. The construction of the chair is done. But on all of these assignments that we're working on, you're going to have to fill them. All right, so I'm going to get the bucket tool. I'll just tap B for bucket. And my materials panel automatically opened up. And again, usually the first time you open up the materials panel, you just get like this home thing right here. And you get some colors, which are fine. You could use those if you want. But if you want more than that, you just come over here to Browse. It's right next to that little Home button. And that's where you get all of these categories like metal and wood and tile and water and window covers and coverings and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not going to care what you fill this with. You can fill it with whatever. You can fill it with water if you want to. I don't care. You just have to fill it. So let's see, what shall I use? I'll use some wood. That's kind of typical for a chair, I think. All right, so I'm going to find a wood pattern here, and I'll take, I'll pick a pattern that I like. And I just go along here and work on filling the surfaces. Now, if you've already done assignment number 1, which, hopefully you have, I hope you're kind of picking up that, like, when I'm looking at the chair from this angle, that looks like it's all filled. But it's not. If I rotate this around, if I orbit around this, look, I haven't gotten around to the back side and the underneath and all that, so we still got some work to do here. So I'm taking my flood fill bucket here, my bucket tool, and you got to give it a good orbit and look at like all the sides of it and go all the way around it, and okay, so that really is looking good. It's a chair. The top of the back of the chair is curved. It is filled. This would satisfy the assignment. This is it. Now, I'm quickly going to, I just tapped H for hand, so I can move that over a little bit. I'm quickly going to work on the bonus parts, right? So the first part of the bonus was, okay, so what if you put a little table right next to the chair? Well, I'm going to use pretty much the same tricks here that I used to build the chair. I'll draw a rectangle and raise it up. I will put a rectangle on the side of that and push it through. I'm going to use push pull, and I'll push it through. Might have to orbit that a little bit so I can push it all the way through. Okay. And really, you know, how you design your table is up to you. Look, this would work. I've seen tables that look like that. Right? That would work. That could be a table. Now, you know, if you want to take it farther and say, well, no, I'm going to go ahead and give it legs, right? So I'll make a same thing as I did on the chair. Make a rectangle, push that through. I'll orbit this around, make a rectangle, push that through with the push-pull tool. That is a little end table. That's the kind of thing I was thinking about right there. It's just you know, a simple little four-legged small table that you can put a book on or whatever. All right, so again, has to be filled, right? And I'm just going to use a different kind of wood. I just kind of want to hurry on this demo and get done. All right, so boom, boom, and again, looking at all of this, all of the angles and all the sides and everything, so that you're sure that you fill the whole thing. You got to pay a little attention to some detail here. The only thing I don't care about filling is if you orbit and look at it from the bottom. Who cares about that? Doesn't matter, right? I guess actually I might want to fill those, but okay. So there's my table. Cool. All right. Now, a lamp on the table. This is the other part of the bonus. You could get more bonus if you want. All right, well, I'm going to come over here and get the circle tool for this. I'll start with the circle tool. I click and hold on the rectangle, and there's the circle tool right there, or you can tap C for circle, and I'm going to draw a circle on here. My lamp is going to have, and I'm going to change the fill of it here in a minute, so don't worry about that. It's going to have a round base. My lamp's going to have a round base. So that's going to be the base of my lamp. And then I'm going to go back to circle again, and I'm going to put like a pillar coming up out of my lamp. And again, I'm going to change the fill in a minute. I'm not going to leave it filled that way. So see, I'm going to keep my lamp pretty simple. There's a round base and there's a post for the lamp. And now it's got to have a shade on it, right? A lamp should have a shade. In fact, that might even be on the handout. If you're going to do a lamp, it's got to have a shade. There we go. Okay, so the shade, I'm just going to take the circle tool and put right on top of that post and kind of pull it out, you know, a little farther than the post itself. I'm kind of having trouble getting the length that I want there. I'm doing better. Something like that. All right. And then again, just going to use push pull and take this and just raise it up. And so that's not terrible. Now, I don't want it filled like that. So I'll take my bucket tool and I'm going to make the base of it metal, and the pole can be metal. And then I might just use some like color for the lampshade up here, and to get the top of it, maybe the inside of it like that. Hey, look at there. So now this would be, I have done the assignment and I got bonus. I did the table and the lamp. It's finished. Yay. Now when you save a file like this, you know, everything on here gets saved along with it. So you're not turning in three different things. You're just turning in this one file. It's got the chair, it's got the table, it's got the lamp, it's got everything on there. All right, so I'm going to come up here in the top left where it says Untitled, and I'm going to change the title of it. I'll just call it The Chair, except I can't spell. And I'll click OK. Boom. And when you do that, it's going to say, okay, where do you want to save this? It's saying, well, where's your folder? What folder do you want? It always, I don't know why, it always kind of comes along here and has these sorted out by some weird order. So I'm going to click where it says name, and then that sorts them out by name. And my folder is inside in here, my classes and digital media production and SketchUp. And then I made a folder here, SketchUp for schools, right? That's where I'm going to put my assignment. So I'll just pick that. Select that folder, and it gets saved in that folder. And then when it's time for you to turn it in Google Classroom, that's where you would find it, right? You would go to the assignment on Google Classroom, click the plus sign, you can go to Google Drive, and then you have to browse around to your folder that you use to save it, and then that file should be sitting in there ready for you to turn it in. All right, so that's a peek at SketchUp number 2.